Hey everyone, welcome back to The Dang Good Show. I'm your host, Christine Dang, but you can call me C Dang. Today's episode is one I know a lot of us can relate to: burnout. If you've ever found yourself feeling mentally exhausted, emotionally drained, and physically wiped out, you're definitely not alone. With everything from work, relationships, side hustles, and even social media, the pressure can feel endless. Today, we're diving deep into breaking the cycle of burnout and exploring how we can build more sustainable self-care routines that actually stick. Whether you're working from home, balancing a job and family, or just feeling that overwhelm creeping in, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. So let's start by breaking down what burnout actually is. We hear the word all the time, but what does it really mean? Well, burnout was first coined by psychologist Herbert Freudenberger in the 1970s, and it's been defined as a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. But here's the thing. Burnout doesn't just happen because of a heavy workload. It's also about the imbalance we have in our lives when we're giving too much and not replenishing ourselves enough. Now, I'm sure many of us have experienced this, myself included. There was a time when I felt like I was running on empty, trying to balance so many different areas of my life. And it's not just about the work. It's the emotional toll of feeling like you're constantly chasing the next thing without any rest. The scary part is that burnout creeps up slowly. And by the time you realize it, you're completely drained. Now, signs of burnout could be feeling exhausted, even after a full night's sleep, decreased motivation, or feeling disconnected from things that used to excite you, feeling emotionally drained or more irritable than usual, and lastly, struggling to concentrate or be productive. It's important to recognize these signs early because burnout doesn't just affect our work, it can impact our health, relationships, and overall quality of life. Let me get real with you. I've definitely experienced burnout more times than I'd like to admit. One time in particular stands out. I was juggling a full-time job, side projects, and family responsibilities. I was saying yes to everything and everyone because I wanted to be that person who could handle it all. I didn't realize I was burning out until I got really sick. Like, really sick. My body just couldn't keep up anymore. And mentally, I was drained. My creativity was gone. My patience was running thin. And I felt like I was losing myself. It took hitting that wall for me to realize that I had to make a change. And the first step to recovery? Self-awareness. I had to admit that I wasn't taking care of myself and that something had to give. So where does burnout really come from? Sure, we could say it's from work or family stress or just the constant noise in our lives. But if we dig deeper, burnout often comes from feeling out of control, not setting boundaries, and not prioritizing our needs. Let's look at some common causes. Number 1, overcommitting. Saying yes to too many things, whether it's work, social events, or even projects that don't light us up. Number 2, lack of boundaries. This one is huge. Huge. Not knowing when to say no or when to stop working, especially if you're working from home. Number 3, perfectionism. Feeling like you have to do everything perfectly can create an immense amount of pressure. Been there, done that, not doing that again. Number 4, neglecting self-care. This is a biggie. We live in a culture that celebrates productivity over everything else, but neglecting rest, mental health, and even downtime leads to burnout. Here's the thing. Burnout doesn't just go away with a quick weekend getaway or a spa day. Those things help, but what we need are more sustainable changes that can prevent burnout in the first place. Now, all right, so let's talk about the good stuff. Strategies for preventing burnout and maintaining self-care that's sustainable. These aren't just band-aid fixes. They're habits you can build into your daily life to protect your energy. Number 1, set boundaries. This is number 1 for a reason. Setting boundaries isn't about being rude. It's about respecting your time and energy. Start small. If you're working from home, try setting specific work hours and sticking to them. When your workday ends, it ends. Don't let work seep into your downtime. For example, I had to get real strict about my phone usage. I used to answer emails at all hours, even on weekends. But now I have a no work after 4 p.m. rule. And let me tell you, it's been a game changer. Number 2, learn to say no. People pleasing is real. And I know a lot of us struggle with saying no because we don't want to disappoint anyone. But guess what? You're not doing anyone any favors by overcommitting and then burning out. Saying no is a form of self-care. Number 3, schedule rest. Rest isn't just about sleeping. It's about giving your mind a break, whether it's taking short breaks during your workday or scheduling a do-nothing day once a month. Rest is necessary for your mental health. Now, there's a study from the American Psychological Association that found regular breaks during work can increase productivity and reduce stress levels. So, don't feel guilty for stepping away. You're actually doing yourself and your work a favor. Number 4, practice mindfulness and meditation. If you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you know I'm a huge advocate for mindfulness and meditation. It's been a huge part of my self-care routine. Just taking 10 minutes a day to meditate can help you reset your mind and reduce the mental clutter. Number 5, physical activity. Move your body, whether it's yoga, a walk around the block, or hitting the gym. Physical movement is an incredible way to release stress and boost your mood. There's a reason why we feel so much better after exercising. It releases those feel-good endorphins that help combat stress. But there's even more to it. In episode 22, Embracing Self-Awareness and Self-Love in the Digital World, I talked about something called hope molecules. If you missed that episode, I highly recommend checking it out. These molecules, also known as myokines, are proteins released by your muscles when you engage in physical activity. They don't just make you feel good in the moment, they can improve your mental health in the long run. One myokine in particular is called irisin, is a natural mood booster and even works as an antidepressant. By simply moving your body, you're not just improving your physical fitness, you're nurturing your mental well-being. So next time you're feeling overwhelmed, take a few minutes to stretch, walk, or exercise. It's more than just breaking a sweat. It's a way to boost your emotional resilience and release those powerful hope molecules into your system. Enjoying what you're hearing? Fantastic. To make sure you're always in the loop with the latest episode, just hit that subscribe button. Your support makes all the difference. And hey, this podcast thrives because of awesome listeners like you. So a big shout out for that. And of course, I'm on Instagram. Find and follow me at Christine_Dang. Lastly, looking for more information on what we discussed today? Just cruise on over to thedangoodshow.com, click on the episode you're curious about, and voila, access to the show notes. Now, without further ado, let's jump back into the show. Another key component to avoiding burnout is building emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is your ability to bounce back from stressful situations. It doesn't mean you don't feel stress or anxiety. It just means you're able to handle it and recover more quickly. Here are some ways to build emotional resilience. Number 1, embrace challenges. Instead of avoiding difficult situations, see them as opportunity to grow. This shift in mindset can make a huge difference. Number 2, lean on your support network. Don't be afraid to reach out to friends, family, or even a therapist if you're feeling overwhelmed. Talking about your stress can help lighten the load. Number 3, celebrate small wins. Recognize the progress you've made, even if it feels small. Celebrating small wins can keep you motivated and remind you that you're moving forward. So earlier, I was talking about my burnout, and after my burnout, I had to rebuild my life and my habits. It didn't happen overnight and it wasn't easy, but it was necessary. I started by setting non-negotiables for myself, boundaries around my work, regular breaks, and a commitment to rest. I also reconnected with hobbies I had to let go of, like writing and creating content. It was about finding joy again and remembering that life isn't just about checking off tasks. It's about living, exploring, and enjoying the journey. And honestly, it's a constant process. There are still times when I still feel myself slipping into old habits, but now I know the signs and I have the tools to get back on track. The thing about self-care is that it's not just about feeling good in the moment. It's about long-term well-being. When you prioritize yourself, set boundaries, and make time for rest, the benefits ripple out in every area of your life. Here are a few long-term benefits. Increase energy level. When you avoid burnout, you have more energy to put into the things you love. Improve mental health. Regular self-care reduces stress, anxiety, and the risk of depression. Better relationships. When you're taking care of yourself, you can show up more fully for the people in your life. And then lastly, greater productivity. Sustainable self-care doesn't mean you get less done. It means you get more done, but without sacrificing your well-being. So, how can you start implementing these strategies today? Remember, building sustainable self-care routines doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's all about starting small and being consistent. So here are 3 practical steps to begin right now. Number 1, create a self-care plan. Write down what your ideal self-care routine looks like. This doesn't have to be elaborate. It could be as simple as a 10-minute morning meditation, taking a walk during lunch, or setting a boundary around work hours. Your self-care plan should reflect what you need to feel balanced and energized. Number 2, commit to one non-negotiable. Choose one self-care activity that is non-negotiable. Something you will do every day, no matter what. It could be as small as 5 minutes of journaling, a 15-minute workout, or turning off your phone after a certain hour. This habit will act as your anchor and help you stay grounded when life gets chaotic. Number 3, track your progress. Keep a journal or use a habit tracking app to monitor how you're feeling over time. Reflect on what's working and what's not. If you find that something isn't serving you, adjust and try something new. Self-care is all about flexibility and finding what works best for you. I want to share one more personal story before we wrap up. When I first started implementing these changes into my life, I was skeptical. I didn't think small things like setting boundaries or taking breaks would really make much of a difference. But over time, I realized that the little things really do add up. I started with just 5 minutes of meditation in the morning, which helped clear my head before diving into my day. I also committed to setting a work cutoff time at 4 or 5 latest, so I could have my evenings to unwind. And you know what? Over time, I noticed I had more energy. I felt less stressed and was able to focus better at work. The key to breaking the cycle of burnout is consistency. It's not about doing something perfectly, but about showing up for myself every day in small ways. These small changes transformed my life, and I truly believe they can do the same for you. Before we wrap up, I want to touch on something really important. Self-care is not a luxury. It's a priority. It's not something we should feel guilty about or view as an indulgence. In fact, self-care is essential if we want to show up as our best selves, both for ourselves and for the people in our lives. In today's world, where we're constantly bombarded with notifications, tasks, and responsibilities, burnout has become all too common. But by breaking the cycle and investing in our well-being, we're not just improving our mental and physical health. We're creating a ripple effect that will impact every areas of our lives. When we take care of ourselves, we can be more present with our loved ones, more focused at work, and more energized to pursue our passion. Self-care isn't selfish. It's a foundation for a fulfilling life. All right, my friends, that brings us to the end of today's episode on breaking the cycle of burnout, strategies for sustainable self-care. I hope this episode has given you some practical tools and inspiration to prioritize your well-being and build a self-care routine that lasts. I want to leave with you one final thought. Remember to be kind to yourself. Burnout happens when we push ourselves too hard for too long without taking time to rest and recharge. You deserve to feel good, to take breaks, and to care for your mind, body, and soul. If today's episode resonated with you, or if you ever felt burnout creeping in, take a moment to reflect on what changes you can make to break the cycle. Even one small step can make a world of difference. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to The Dang Good Show. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with anyone who might need a little reminder to take care of themselves. Let's keep this conversation going. Drop a comment or send me a message if you want to chat about anything we covered today. Until next time, stay mindful, stay kind to yourself, and as always, stay dang good. Much love, C Dang signing out. Thank you for joining us on The Dang Good Show. Remember to swing by our website, thedangoodshow.com, where you can easily subscribe on platforms like Apple, Google, and Spotify to keep up with our latest episodes. Loved what you heard today? A thumbs up and a positive review on your favorite listening platform would be incredibly appreciated. And if our show struck a chord with you, sharing it with just one friend can help our community grow and thrive. Thanks once more for lending your ears to me on The Dang Good Show. Until we meet again, take care and goodbye.